After the Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade earlier this year, both parties have talked about crafting a nationwide abortion law, whether that be to restrict access or expand access to abortion. What would you want or not want to see in federal abortion legislation?
Yes, I've been clear. I am personally pro-life. I think there's good people on both sides of this issue, and we need to be able to come into the center of this and acknowledge it. I've been clear from the very beginning. I oppose a federal abortion ban. That's long before the unprecedented leak from the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court's decision gave the power to the people, and that's where I believe it belongs. I respect the will of the voters here in Washington state. So what I will do is ensure that women have access to health care, that they have access and affordable access to contraception and childcare. Unlike Senator Murray, who's been there for the last 30 years, I'll go get that done for women. And when women are in a time of crisis, I want to ensure that they have every resource that they need should they choose to keep their child, that they have every resource, that it's not a ticket to poverty or a lack of education. You know, there's one extreme on this issue, and it's Senator Murray, because if she had it her way, she would change the will of the voters of Washington state. Her record represents it. It would be taxpayer-funded, abortion on demand, all the way up to the point of birth. And the question we should all ask Senator Murray is, do you believe in any legal limitations to abortion? And again, don't take it from me that the most recent Newsweek article that was out yesterday, Senator Murray has no right to lecture me or any women in this room or in this state or country for that matter on how we should be treated, or any of us. Patty told her national security advisor that her luck had run out for having 2 children within 2 years, and she fired her. Senator Murray?
Thank you, Ms. Smiley. Your time is up. Thank you. Ms. Murray?
There is a huge difference between me and my opponent on this issue. I believe that every woman should be able to make her own health care choices about her own family, working with her doctor, her faith, and her own needs. This should not be decided by politicians. You just heard my opponent say politicians should decide. I do not agree with that at all. We should not be in a room with people when they are making medical decisions. Now, I hear my opponent over there saying, I'm 100% pro-life, don't worry. I gotta tell you, I was in the Senate. I saw Supreme Court nominees come in front of us and say to us, I'm pro-life, don't worry, and look what happened. They overturned 50 years of precedent and put this country and women's lives in chaos. We have women coming here to Washington state because they can't get reproductive care where they live. We have providers right here in Spokane who live in Idaho and are worried about the work that they do every day to save lives and help women. They will be arrested when they go home. We have trackers who are following women in this country using their phone apps to make sure that they know where they went, and when they come home, threaten them with arrest. This cannot be. If you elect me, I will pass my legislation to codify Roe into law and put precedent back in place in this country and protect women's right to choose.
You want to use one of your rebuttals?
Sorry, yes, to clarify, you agree politicians should decide this. I said I believe that the people should, and I respect the will of the voters here in Washington state.
You can use one.
Let me make it very clear. What she just said is out of the Supreme Court's hand. That was a constitutional right that we had under 50 years of precedent. What she said is politicians in state legislatures could now decide. Politicians in a room with a woman and her family and her faith and her doctor making that decision.
And you would like the taxpayer as well.
Ms. Smiley, your time is up. Thank you. So you both have used one rebuttal. You have one more to use throughout the rest of the debate. I do want to ask a follow-up on abortion. You will each have 30 seconds to answer this. Ms. Murray, to start with you, would you favor creating an exception to the filibuster rules to approve abortion rights nationwide?
I do believe that the rules of the Senate should allow us, when we are making a decision about constitutional rights, whether it's a woman's right to choose or voters' rights to make sure their vote is heard at the polls, and that's the voting rights law. These are rights that America hold near and dear, and I do not think that the rules of the Senate should preclude us from codifying them into law.
Thank you. Ms. Smiley, you have 30 seconds.
Yeah, so again, Senator Murray made it clear that she wants politicians to decide this. I believe and respect the will of the voters here in Washington State, and if anyone should change this, it should be Washington State voters. What I can do is add and ensure that women have every resource, access to care and child care. I just met with a young mother, a single mom from University of Washington, and she said childcare is so hard to come by. I said, I understand, I know what that's like. So we will go get that done, but the filibuster is a long-held rule that in the Senate that balances the power, and it's good for our country.
Thank you, Ms. Smiley. I do want to